You crank all of that through. You have built a relationship with that borrower that no other loan officer has done. You're saving yourself time. You're setting yourself up to get more business, not only from them, but also the realtor. And you're going to have a much smoother transaction down the road. So we are on the last day of sales training, at least sales onboarding, but by no means does this mean that these things are done, right? Because it's an ongoing thing. There's a lot of information, and it's an ongoing process. That's why we do group coaching calls every Tuesday. We can set up one-on-ones. We have mindset trainings on Mondays and Fridays. We have our prospecting room now that's open every day that we're starting, where people can go in. And so we just started that today. And so it's an ongoing process. And in no way do I think that is you're going to understand everything at once. And also is that it's very common and normal for us to default to old behaviors in the ways that we used to do things. But one thing that we have to remind ourselves constantly is how I did it before did it get me the results that I wanted? And if the answer is yes, great, continue to do that. If the answer is no, and assuming you gave it enough time, I'm going to move this person in here, assuming you give it enough time, then it means you need to change things, right? Another thing that we have to remember is that what might have worked at a certain level before doesn't necessarily mean it works at the level you want to get to. Now, there's certain things that would take you to a certain level, but then it kind of has a ceiling on what you're able to get out of that particular activity. And so a lot of what we do is to try to adjust the mindset of how we approach things. If you guys remember the two definitions is insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results, right? Pretty much everyone knows that one. The other one we talk about is the definition of stupidity, and it's doing what other people do and expecting a different result than what they get. So we should not be mimicking people that are getting the results that we don't like. We should only be mimicking people that are getting the results that we like, right? And so as our approach from prospecting, for the meeting, the follow-up, it's different. And it's not different for the sake of being different. I mean, part of it is, I suppose, there are principles that are can be applied to any area of life that goes into why we prospect the way we do, the reason why we conduct our meetings the way we do, the reasons why we do a refining the way we do, the reason why we do the status updates, even our status updates we talked about. There's other people that do them, but they do it just strictly as an administrative task, right? Well, you can get anybody to do that. Is that we treat the status updates as a sales opportunity. And when you do it that way, you have so many benefits, your business grows. And so it's going to be constantly as we work together, you may ask me questions, and I may remind you is that you're thinking like everybody else. I had a loan officer yesterday message me, one of our loan officers, and he messaged me about he's going to a broker open today, in a big house, gonna be a lot of realtors there, all that stuff. It's a great place to mingle, network, that type of thing. And he said, "Hey, what should I do? What should I bring there? Besides, business cards and flyers with payments on it." That's what he asked me. And the first thing I told him is that you're thinking like everybody else, and you're doing what every other loan officer would do in that situation. I wouldn't bring flyers, and if I'm bringing flyers, sure as heck, it's not going to be anything to do with payment numbers on there, because who cares? Business cards, I get why you bring them, but you don't even need to do it. Your goal should not be there to try to hand out business cards and flyers. Your goal is just to have lots of great conversations. Your goal, your plan is everything after that. Is what's my follow-up strategy going to be after that? And in order to have a good follow-up strategy after that, my goal should be is to connect with many agents there and make sure they have a good opinion of me, a good feeling of me. And it's not by me trying to sell them at that particular broker's open, because they didn't go to the broker's open to be sold by any means. They went to the broker open to check out the property, get some free food, and that kind of stuff. Not saying that you don't try to create connections there, absolutely, but we do it in a way that's different than every other loan officer that puts themselves in that particular situation. Now, you might have a conversation with the realtor and they bring it to business, right? That's fine, but we don't. We go there to bring connection. Yeah, let them know I'm a loan officer and get permission. Is it cool if I follow up with you? Absolutely. And then you follow up with them, you schedule an appointment. Sometimes they might connect with you and you can get the appointment at that time with them and to schedule it, but that's not what we go into. We got to be different with everything. So why am I bringing that up and all of that? Is because, James just got in. I'm going to move him in here. Why am I bringing that up? Sorry. Is because the thing we're going to talk about next is a very simple thing. It's a routine thing, but it's a routine thing that I see far too many loan officers approaching it the wrong way. And they just approach like everybody else. They take the path of least resistance. And why do people take the path of least resistance? Because it's easy. They think it saves them time. They think that's what the borrower wants without really thinking about what the borrower needs. And so what am I talking about today, and what's our, second to last train? The last train to be a very short one, but what is this? And it's taking the application with the borrower. It's so simple. It's something we should be doing every single day. We want to get as many applications as we take, and taking the application to the borrower. Here's what most people do. Hey, borrower, I'm going to send you my online application link, and they send it over. That's what most loan officers do. And you're like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, one, it's like most loan officers do. And do you want the production of what most loan officers get? Absolutely not, right? So I remember I used to take every application by hand. I've been in this business a long time. I had to meet with every client. I remember when the online application thing started to be a thing, and people were hesitant to use it, but some people did. And then it started all of a sudden to explode. Now everybody uses it. It's the default thing. And people think, oh, this is so great. It makes it easier for me. It saves me time. Only for them to realize, they don't even realize this. I guess that's part of the problem, is it creates more problems than it fixes. Now, there are some exceptions. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not going to broad brush this across every single applicant that you talk to. There are some exceptions where sending the online application is totally fine. Like, for instance, you've worked with a client for 3 different times. You know them. They know the process. They know how this works. Easy peasy, right? There are those things. Or where there's absolutely no way, the timing absolutely does not work to do it over the phone, and so you need to send it, so it's the only option at that time. That's another thing. That happens, right? That happens. But a majority of the time, we should be taking our application with the client over the phone. And that's why it's imperative that we control our day, because this takes time. And so remember we talked about the schedule training, is that you have 6 different time slots where you could potentially schedule a borrower application. And so you're able to get a lot of borrower applications. You're able to get a lot of borrower applications done throughout the day when you need to. And then you are controlling it. Now, sometimes you got to do it outside of hours. We talked about how to position yourself for that. But we want to be taking our applications over the phone. So I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to get a copy of this document. And what I'm going to go over are a few things, but as how you can take a great application in a short period of time and ensure things move fast and also clean and efficient. Because we don't want to have 1-hour application times. That's inefficient. But a borrower, if you move fast and if you don't set things up appropriately, they're going to think that you're rushing them through. So there's a lot of framing that's involved here and setting things up. So the borrower thinks that you're taking great care of them, which you are, but they don't know it unless you say certain things. They think you might be rushing it. I could get an application done, a very thorough application done where the borrower loves it. Everything's going through quickly and efficiently in 20 minutes. A really detailed one if needed. Now, most of them go a little bit longer, obviously, than that, but sometimes that you're in a time pinch there and a time pinch you need to crush through, right? But we want things to be thorough. So let me share my screen and go over a few things before we go into how to structuring your call, your application. Now, I know as I say this, a lot of you are going to try to default going back, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to run into the same issues that you've always ran into, and you're actually going to lose time. This is going to give you back more time when you do this appropriately. So keys to remember, we've talked about this in the other ones, is people do business with people they like. When you do an application over the phone, you have a better opportunity for them to like you. Because if they're talking to another loan officer, what's that other loan officer likely doing? I'm going to send you to my website. I'm going to send you to my application link. There's no rapport being built when that happens. This differentiates you. You're able to talk with them. And the more you talk with them and asking questions, because there's a lot of questions being asked, the more they trust you, the more that you are going to get the benefit of the doubt. So when that other person comes with an LE that they're talking to, they want to work with you, so you get the last opportunity to match that, and you get the deal. But if you're both just sending online applications, you're commodity. We cannot commoditize ourselves. Why do loan officers lose business? Why do the borrowers leave them? Why do loan officers not get the last opportunity? Is because they've treated themselves as a commodity, and they're being treated as a commodity. People keep doing business with you because you're good at what you do, solve problems they have, and you stay top of mind. Doing the online doing the application with them over the phone accomplishes all of this. Hey, what's going on? What are you concerned about with this process? What have you heard about the process? Well, I heard about this or that. You can solve these things, right? People are more likely to do what you ask when you ask directly, and of course, do the above. So when you're taking an application over the phone, you have a great conversation, you get a lot of information, and then you give them their needs checklist. It's much easier to say, can you get this to me by tomorrow or in 48 hours? Versus when you send them an online application, everything is very impersonal. And then we structure rapport, value, ask. Some additional benefits, I've already talked about some of these, is the benefits of personally taking the application is you build rapport. You can't do that when you send an online application link. Yeah, you might have a short conversation before you send an online application link, but you do not build the rapport that you can build when you take an app. It differentiates yourself. Very easy, because I would venture to guess, you guys, a lot of you probably send a lot of application links, but I know majority of loan officers, they send an online application link. You're able to get a cleaner and complete app. This is one of the things that boggles my mind, is when we send an online application link to a borrower that doesn't know what they're doing, because this is not what they do. They're going to try to fluff things, hide things, say things. You have to go over the app anyway with them and say, hey, you only have 1 year of residence history. I need 2 years of history. Can you get that for me? Or what's the other address? Or it says you make $20,000, $40,000. Is that exactly 40? How are you paid? You hourly? Oh, is that overtime? All that stuff. You're redoing the app anyway. If you're doing your job, worst case is you just believe what people. When I say you, I say loan officers. They just believe what's put in there, and all of a sudden, boop, problems galore. Yeah, they're making $40,000, but a lot of that's overtime, and they've only been overtime for 1 year, and they've been at their job, so we don't have the 2-year average. Oh, shoot, I pre-approved and I shouldn't have. The deal blew up. When you take the application over the phone with the borrower, you get all of these details. You can uncover potential issues. We've all had it where we talk to a client, and you ask them a question, they answer it, and you're like, I think there's more to what they're telling me, right? Hey, can you explain that? What does that mean? Oh, you have child support that's not, that's back due or whatever, right? You uncover issues early on, so you're not wasting your time chasing them for documents only to find out later that there's problems you can't even do the loan. You're able to explain what to expect as you go. So when you ask the borrower, hey, okay, so you got your down payment. How much do you have down payment? I got $10,000. What's the source it's coming from? Oh, my parents said they're going to give me a gift. Excellent. You know what loan programs that you could do, really pretty much most of them. But then you can prep them. Hey, just a heads up, we don't need anything right now, but we're going to have to get a gift letter signed, and we're going to have to source the money where it's coming from, that sort of stuff. So just be aware that's going to happen. You're future pacing them on things to expect. Next one, you're able to get the app moving faster. One of the things that's a pain in the butt about sending the online app, hey, I send you the online app. You said you're going to fill out this afternoon. Afternoon comes and goes. It's not there. Next morning, it's not there. I got to call them up. I'm chasing. Hey, when do you fill that out? Oh, I'll get later on this afternoon. You just lost a day. First, let's just get this done right now. Take 15, 20, 30 minutes to get this done, and then you could move faster. You're able to set expectations. What for them to expect during the process. Hey, we're going to need these documentation. Why we need it. It's going to take approximately this time. Hey, your loan program, FHA, it has certain requirements for the condition of the property. If there's certain things that are not there, we can't do a standard FHA. We have to do a repair FHA. It's called a 203K. They're a little more difficult, take more time, but we can do them. And you're going to save yourself time down the road. Because all of these things we talked about, issues chasing, For some reason, we don't always think about that and add that time together and how much time that took us to do versus just taking the app very clean up front. It saves you tons of time. It saves processing tons of time. It saves underwriting tons of time. You get your clear to closes faster because we take a great application up front. You feel more confident in those pre-approvals. And when you're more confident in everything because you reviewed everything, it comes through you. You don't even notice it, but it comes through you, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate with the borrower, the realtors, the listing agent, all of those things. And you're able to ask, rapport, value, ask. So I'm able to ask them, hey, okay, we went through all these things. These are the documents I'm going to need. Being that you're self-employed, I can't get your pre-approval until I look at your tax returns. Can you get these to me by tomorrow at noon? And then if you do, I'll be able to have you look to see if you're pre-approved by such and such. Yes. And then you take control from the very beginning. When you do this and you lead them through it, you're the professional. They see you as the professional. They are going to bend to you in most cases, right? And the great thing is none of you guys are a-holes, so that doesn't mean in an a-hole way. We know what's best. We know what to expect. We have done this before, right? We're able to set those expectations. And so while it's going to take you 30 minutes to do this initial application, it's going to save you hours, days, weeks, saves you deals from false pre-approvals or falling apart, all these things. I didn't even get to the realtor component of it. It's because when you take a pre-approval with the client and you do this, it's quick and efficient. You can share that information with the realtor, but you can tell the borrower, hey, did I do a good job for you? Excellent. Can you let your agent know? I love dummy, but I always like to make sure that they know that they can trust when they refer me. And guess what? They're going to do that, which in further builds you up in the eyes of the realtor, which means you're going to get more business. And when you get more business, you do your status updates. You're going to get more leads, more deals, more realtor appointments. And they're going to want to refer you to other realtors because you do a great job with them. All of that from taking the application with them over the phone. But how do we structure this? Well, we structure it in the same way as I'm doing the call, is rapport, value, ask. Rapport, value, ask. And so the rapport builds some relationship, get some preliminary information to help give you clues to where they're at and what options may be on the table. And the quality. Because if I can get the feeling up front that this is going nowhere, I don't want to spend the full 30 minutes. I want to do a good job for them, take care of them, give them a plan, but I don't want to spend a whole time doing it with them. And so I want to use this initial rapport time to help me uncover potentially anything. I'm going to thank them for time. Hey, Owen, awesome for you to reach out to me. I really appreciate it. I know you're working with John. How do you know John? Well, I really don't know John. He called me from, I filled out my information. He called me. Well, I'm gonna let you know that John's a fantastic agent. I know you just luckily connected with him, but he's a great agent. So you lift up the agent, and being that you lift up the agent, it automatically lifts you up. It creates that triangle of trust. Okay? Now, in the rapport section, I'm not going to spend as much time on it as I would in a realtor meeting. So I'm not going to, just because of time and other things, and kind of the way that the call is set up, that type of thing. But I'm still going to ask some questions. All right, so I'm getting into a few things. How long have you been looking to buy? Where are you looking to buy? What has you looking there? Maybe find out if they have kids or that kind of stuff. Why am I wanting to know these things? Where are they looking to buy? It's because it's giving me hints of, like, say, property taxes. Like in my area where I live, if I'm in one county versus another county, or if I'm in the city versus the town of the same place, the taxes vary dramatically. And I need to let them know that when I qualify them, because a $200,000 purchase in the city is different than a $200,000 purchase payment-wise in the town. Those are important things. I want to know that. And also, I can share that with them. It elevates my status in their mind. Here's the two most important questions you need to ask that very few loan officers ask. They'll ask this one, what price range? But this is the most important one. What are you looking to keep your total monthly payment at or below when you factor in taxes, insurance, PMI, if applicable, so on and so forth? $1,000. Okay, great. And what price ranges have you been looking at? We've been looking at, on 500,000. Oh, obviously we know that there's a disconnect, and I might have to bring things together. They might actually qualify for 500,000, but if there's no way that they're going to make the payment on that because they don't want to, they only want 1,000, well, we're wasting everybody's time. We can't do that. How much do you have planned for a down payment? I have nothing. Okay, well, where are they looking at? Are they looking to potentially in a USDA area? If not, do we need to look at DPA? These are things that I'm thinking of as I'm asking these questions. And then I'm going to ask this one. I don't ask it first, but being that I did all this above, it's very easy to ask. And any idea where your credit score is? Oh, it sucks. What do you mean it sucks? Oh, it's like 400. Ugh. It's like low 600s. Some people think 680 sucks, right? It's like, what does it, look like? This is giving me ideas as I'm asking questions where we're going to go with it. Being that you're all experienced, you're able to do this on the fly. So you're taking this information in. Okay, value. This comes from positioning, being thorough, being in control. So they see you as the authority. All right, so here, so thank you for sharing all of that, John. Now, by the time we're done, we're going to reverse engineer. I love this wording because it sounds smart, but it's just what we all do. We're going to reverse engineer some numbers so you'll know exactly what price range, along with the estimated tax and insurance, that's going to keep you in the payment range that you want. Does that work for you? Great. I want to get that confirmation. All right, so now for the application, we're going to go through. We're going to cover what I call the 4 pillars for qualifying. It's really what everybody else knows and what we do, but by giving it a label, again, it elevates what you are doing. And here's the key part. We're going to move quickly through this, and it's only going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, but we're also going to be thorough. And the more thorough that we are now, it'll save you hours, if not days down the road. Fair enough? Great. So here I'm future pacing them that I'm going to get this information and I'm going to be fast. I'm going to be fast going through. I'm going to be going through it quickly, but we're still going to be thorough at the same time. Now, if I'm quickly and I don't future pace them, I'm going to be thorough. They're like, well, this guy's going really quickly. And if he's going quickly, people automatically assume quickness is that inefficient or you're not going through everything. You're missing things. People don't feel taken care of. But by telling them that, they're going to be all right with it. All right, so the first pillar is employment and income. And so you want to get everything, you want to explain everything. So where do you work? Great. How long have you been there? 2 years. Is that exactly 2 years? Because we need a 2-year history, or has it been a year and 10 months? It's actually been a year and 10 months. Great. I'll write this down. What's the address? And where were you at before that? Awesome. How much are you making? How are you paid? Oh, you're hourly? Is any of that overtime? Right? Get that information. If there are potential issues as you're going through it, bring it up. Don't hide it. Oh, you're self-employed? Just so you know, we need a 2-year history self-employed. We average out the income. So it's not your most recent year. We got to average out 2022 and 2023, so on and so forth. All right. Down payment. Where is it from? How much? If there's a gift letter involved. Oh, where's this money coming from? I got cash in a safety deposit box. Ooh, we need to get that sourced immediately, right? Let's get that into a bank account. You have to wait a while. Or can you get a gift in the meantime? Third is pillar. Let them know if you want to do a hard pull, or you do a soft pull. This has got to update a little bit because we used to do soft pulls and everybody, but those costs have gone up. I recommend you have your clients pay for the credit report. All right. But get their information, pull their credit, that's so on and so forth if you're able to, if you already have it. Fourth pillar is, and then explain to them their credit scores, history, ask them questions. The fourth pillar is the debt to income ratios. Explain DTI. There's the housing ratio, there's the front ratio, and then there's the back ratio, the total debt ratio. Explain that. Explain how different loan programs, I'm thinking that you're going to go FHA based on your credit score, your down payment, those types of things. We're pretty flexible on the ratios. And then put numbers together for them and say, okay, you tell me you're looking at a $500,000 house. Now in the areas that you're looking at, a $500,000 house with 5% down, the taxes, insurance, PMI, that payment's going to be around $4,000. What? Yeah. So if you want to get around a more 1,000, you're going to have a purchase price around $100,000. Well, there's nothing in my area. Okay, well, are you able to move that payment up? No, 1,000's the most we'll ever pay. Well, you're going to have to rent or move or a different area, right? Now I'm being a little aggressive there. No, I guess we can do 4,000. Great, because you qualify for that. That's good. Want them on the page because you don't want to waste the realtor's time, your time, their time. Get them on that page. Confirming. Now, does everything understand? To make sure, I'm thinking we're going to do FHA loan. The minimum down payment is 3.5% down. Your price range, along with taxes and insurance, to keep you at the payment you want is X, Y, and Z. Right? Good. Confirming. Make sure we're all on the same page. Now I'm going to go into the ask part. Did you find this helpful and valuable? Yes, I did. Awesome, great. Now I'm going to send a follow-up email to both you and your realtor about these numbers and programs. That way we're all on the same page. So after this, you send an email to them and to the realtor or recap from our application. Here's where you're at. This is the loan program you're going for, your approximate purchase range, and taxes, insurance to keep you at the payment you want. You could go higher if you wanted to, but your payment's going to be higher. These are the document lists that we need. And so you're going to include that. Also, I'm going to send you a checklist of documents that we've been talking about. I know it's a pain to gather these, but it will save you a lot more time down the road if we get this out of the way now. Can you send me everything by such and such a date? Depending on their scenario. Obviously, if they're trying to get pre-approved and need tax returns, I need that immediately. Now, before we go, any other questions pop up? Okay. Do you know that if you have any questions, or if you'd like me to run any payment numbers on any properties, let me know. Awesome. Great. I'll be staying in touch. Have a great day. Pre-approval's on the way, such and such. You crank all of that through. You have built a relationship with that borrower that no other loan officer has done. You're saving yourself time. You're setting yourself up to get more business, not only from them, but also the realtor. And you're going to have a much smoother transaction down the road. Any questions you guys have for me on taking the application over the phone?